Hey y'all, it's Dr. Know-It-All. I am coming to you from the Tesla Model Y, where misinformation is driving us home, giving us the thumbs up. Just got back from Detroit, just went and saw Sandy Monroe, got to see Monroe and Associates, super cool, amazing stuff. Also get the thumbs up. Check out the Cybertruck test drive if you haven't seen it yet. Sorry for the weird angle and some background noise, but you know, such is life. But I wanted to get on this immediately because this dropped at like 3 o'clock, 5:25 a.m. So yeah, around the time that we were in the airport waiting. So anyway, Tesla Optimus trying to be useful today. So lately, sorry about that. And Tesla hits back in a big way in the human bot competition. This is great stuff. Dr. Scott Walter, who I will talk to you later today about this, and we'll do a video tomorrow. I'm just going to do a kind of hot take today. But we had been talking about the fact that Tesla's been a little bit quiet lately relative to the other players. So now it's time for them to, hit back and show off what they got. So let's take a look at this here. And you can see the Tesla bot here has been busy learning to do useful tasks. This is 1X and it is autonomous, as it says. So you can see it or him or whatever putting the batteries, 4680s, into a tray, which is something that it needs to be done quite a bit, and obviously just using 2D cameras and the FSD computer and balancing on its legs while it's, the neural network is driving everything. So it's basically balancing and doing all the work just like a human does. And you can see that it's using kind of 2 fingers plus a thumb to grab these 4680 battery cells and place them in the tray. Not super fast at this point, but watch this error correction. Very, very impressive. Yeah, that's super cool. Then we see what I count as 8 Optimi doing various tasks with humans, doing demonstrating to them using teleoperation how to do this. So that was clearly not autonomous, but here you can see again, autonomous, this is 6x speed, so it's pulling batteries off the line, 6xing them, also walking around, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit more in just a minute. But again, it's not clear exactly how much that's sped up, but he's walking at a decent pace and walking around, and really pretty cool. It would have to feel like science fiction to see a bot walking around like this in your lab. This must have been shot maybe yesterday on a Saturday, because not very many people were there. Also, really lovely offices. I love the fact that there are plants and everything all over the place, so much light. All that stuff is really great. Before we go back and watch this again and break it down a little bit more, let us turn to Lars. There we go. Milan, sorry, not Lars, to Milan Kovac. Over the past couple of months, our awesome manufacturing team has built more bots for us to work on and collect AI data from. We've trained and deployed a neural network allowing Optimus to start doing useful tasks such as picking up battery cells, coming down a conveyor, and precisely inserting them into a tray. So that's exactly what you saw right there. This neural network is running entirely end-to-end, meaning that it only consumes video coming from the bot's 2D cameras as well as onboard proprioceptive sensors and produces joint control sequences directly. It runs entirely on the bot's embedded FSD computer powered by onboard battery. It's designed such that a single neural network can perform multiple tasks as we add more diverse data to the training process. While not being perfect yet and still a little slow, yeah, definitely slow, we're seeing increasingly high success rates with less frequent misses. We're also training Optimus to recover from failure cases and are seeing spontaneous correction happen. We've deployed a couple of bots at one of our factories, which I would have to guess would be the Fremont factory, just because that's very close to where they're building the bots, where they're being tested daily at real workstations and continuously improving. So they're not actually producing vehicles at this point, they're just in a test station, but they're at the factory, in the real factory environment. So that's super, super cool. Optimus also now regularly takes long walks across the office without falling, and that I assume would again be in their AI headquarters in Palo Alto. Further work is ongoing to make it move faster as well as dealing with more adverse terrains. So that would be lumpiness, stairs, whatever, grass, things like that, all without sacrificing the human-like nature of it. We're also focusing on repeatability across the fleet, training the neural network to deal with dynamic calibration and small bot-to-bot variants. More updates soon. So small bot-to-bot variants would be the fact that when you're building at large scale, the tolerances of any individual bot, the exact length of the arms, the mechanism of the actuators, all of that stuff can vary by sub-millimeters up to maybe a millimeter or something like that. But those are enough to throw a robot off. And so what they're doing is they're training it with multiple different variations. I would assume they're doing a lot of this in simulation as well. And I'm going to talk about that. Dr. Jim Fan just posted something about that, and I read that right before the Optimus thing, so this superseded it. But definitely stick around, be sure you subscribe so you can check that one out when it happens. But the bot-to-bot variances are being adjusted for so that you can cross-transfer this training from one bot to another. And you can see here we've got same thing as the full self-driving computer. We get photons in from the cameras plus proprioceptive stuff like finger sensors and balance sensors and things like that. And then what you get is joint control sequences. So you can imagine this as like words in a sentence. It's like the cat sat in the hat. You're predicting the next token, but the token in this case is the joint positions to cause the bot to be able to move and rotate and move around appropriately balanced. We've got the powered by the onboard battery is also very important. I think that when you see other demonstrations, and I'm not calling out Figure about doing this badly or something, but you can clearly see the Figure robot demonstration is using OpenAI's ChatGPT that's remote. It's off-site and it's projecting that out. It's having to take the language, put it off into the cloud, get back the information and digest that information and then turn it into a sequence. Probably the turning it into a sequence is local to the robot, but the linguistic stuff is all remote. There's no indication from the Tesla team if they've got any kind of language interface at this point or how they actually ask it to do a task. I would imagine that they're at least starting to integrate Grok into this whole thing so that you can at least type something in and say, can you please place the batteries in the tray or something, so that it can be trained from a conceptual instruction like place the batteries in a tray to doing the teleoperators who are moving it around and putting them in the trays, teleoperating the robot to do that, to then it being able to learn that autonomously. And so, and not yet perfect and a little slow. So definitely yes on both of those parts. Well, you don't see the not perfect so much, but the little slow part you can see. But the other part, of course, is deploying a couple of bots at one of their factories while they're being tested daily at real workstations. So again, not doing actual work, but in the factory pretending to do real work. And once it gets to the point where it progresses enough that it can actually do that real work at a rate that they're satisfied with, then they can immediately transfer that cell over. Tesla works in cells in general. They have like all of these cells, and you can have multiple cells doing the same thing and experimenting about which one of those cells is doing it the most efficiently, and those people can feed into the main line of creating whatever it is that they're doing. So this would probably be the battery placement or something like that. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning of this video. And so you can see that it is, I guess we have to push wash again here. There we go. So you can see it's placing the 4680s into this tray, but it's doing it rather slowly. It's also doing it apparently with 2 fingers and a thumb. So that's the nature of how it's working. And you can also see that the operator, because of human bot, it's just liability stuff. I think it's OSHA that's in charge of that, but basically you can't get too close to the robot yourself, so you always have to use a stick or something like that to interact with it. So that's a plus effect. It's just more convenient instead of him having to reach over every single time and put a new battery into the slots. So all of that kind of stuff is going on here. You can see the point of view where it's actually auto-correcting, self-correcting for errors that are coming up. And then you can see here, if we freeze it, that it looks pretty weird and freaky. This guy is like clearly showing the bot what to do. So he's reaching over and pretending to pick it up and move it down. Obviously he's got gloves on that are capturing data and a VR headset where you can see what's happening in the eyes of the robot, but it's unclear whether he has haptic gloves that are actually giving him some force feedback about that. It would be very, very useful if he was getting that, so he would know exactly how much pressure he was putting on it. So you can see that there are multiple people, at least 4 people in this line. They just skipped ahead of that a little bit. If we back up, you can see one more. So there's a teleoperator, a bot, teleoperator, a bot, teleoperator, a bot, and a teleoperator, a bot. And then on the other side, you can see the same thing going backwards. So this would be 4 on this side, with humans controlling them, basically doing the same thing over and over again. But after they teleoperate some number of times, that's unclear We've heard from other companies, for example, EVANNEX, and I think Figure as well, and maybe Sanctuary as well, that if they do this in the real world with teleoperators, it can learn it in their bots can learn it in somewhere around 100 demonstrations of this. So I would guess, given the fact that they've got so many people working on this, that it's probably more than 100 demonstrations. But probably what they're doing is, because they're doing it with multiple robots that are each going to have slightly different dimensions, actuator controls, all of that kind of stuff. The variability of constructing mass market objects means that they're not going to be exactly alike. And so probably what they're doing is training it on many more than simply 100 shots at this, but they're trying to get it across a bunch of bots and deal with the variance between the bots and have it be robust against that. But we're not talking about tens of thousands, right? That would be pretty impossible with this number of people. But anyway, so you can see them doing the work as it's scrolling or panning down here. And then you can see 3 on the other side with 1 walking, so that's why I was counting 8. But you can also see jobs like it's putting something into a shelf here, and it's putting clothes away. It looks like it's, I think that might be, yeah, I know, exactly. I think it's putting clothes into a basket, right? That looks like clothes in a basket to me. So we may be talking clothes in a basket, which is even more exciting than putting away, putting batteries in a tray for those of us who hate doing laundry and putting away laundry. But these look like more household tasks over here, and the other stuff is more factory tasks. But that's really cool. So they're training it on a diversity of tasks, and just really cool. If you think about just even a few months ago, the bots had to be tethered with a kind of like a tether that would stay on top, and then a crane that would go over their heads, so in case they fell down it would catch them. But you can see now that this bot's just chilling and walking around. None of these bots are tethered.
Are you sure that's real?
Yeah, right, it looks like CGI. But so none of these bots are tethered. They're able to stand to a degree that nobody even has to bother with making sure that they don't fall down. Or if they fall down in an elegant way so that they can pick themselves back up again without damaging themselves. I would actually honestly hope that they would be able to do that too, because no matter what you do, the bots are going to eventually fall over if you have millions of these things out and about. So they need to be able to fall gracefully, take the fall damage, and then be able to get up effectively. Maybe not the creepy way that the Boston Dynamics one did it, flipping its legs backwards and standing up, but some manner of getting back up again. It should be able to do that, right? Even if it's on its back, it can press over, get on its front, and then kind of push up and kneel up. So should be able to handle that kind of stuff. But that's the kind of amazing things that we're actually seeing from Tesla. Again, this is, it's not quite as directly cool to people who might not be in the know, because with the Figure robotics demonstration, it was like, pick me up a healthy snack. And the Figure 1 bot picks up a healthy snack, the orange, instead of the potato chips. But that's really cool because it's got language integrated into it. But at this point, we're not seeing that with Optimus. But remember that language integration is powered by OpenAI, and it's definitely non-local, because when they say the things that they say, you can see the little thinking thing go on the face screen. So the other interesting thing about this is this looks like a fairly production-ready robot, and it doesn't have anything on its face. It's just blank. So there's definitely cameras inside there, but there's no screen. It doesn't appear to be giving any feedback in that sense. No smiley face. So what we might get is just looks like a spaceman. Kind of looks like Starman, right? The guy that took off in Elon's Roadster back when the SpaceX, the original Falcon Heavy took off. So the one that's floating around Mars right now, or in Earth orbit near Mars. But Sun orbit around Mars. But yeah, so anyway, really, really cool stuff. And I don't know. It needs to be sped up about, not 20x, that's 20x, but maybe 5x. It's probably got to go 4 to 5 times faster than this to be able to do this effectively. Just real quick before, I think we're going to see it very shortly about it auto-correcting. Although I could be wrong, it might, yep, there it is. So this auto-correction right here, this is really cool. This is kind of like that ChatGPT moment that Figure demonstrated when it was doing the Keurig thing, when it tried to place, the Figure bot tried to place the K-cup into the Keurig, and it didn't go in, and it was able to pick it up and replace it. So that's the kind of moment we're seeing here with Optimus. This is error correction, automatic error correction with autonomy, and that is very, very cool. So that's what I got. That's my take. Scott and I will do a much longer breakdown of this, but he's driving down to Florida, and obviously I'm getting back forgive the noise and all of that kind of stuff. Hopefully it was worth it because I wanted to get this out as quickly as possible. And thank you to Misinformation for driving so that I could do this thing. All right, I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.